You sound wonderful.
Still sound
yeah,
okay?
Perfect. Yes, perfect.
So do we want to start this at the start?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, first of all, everybody, thanks for tuning into this. And my idea for AMC, and really all these other stocks that were involved in that fuckery in January 28th, it stems back from my involvement in a company called T0. And I have owned its parent Overstock for 4.5 years. And T0 was the brainchild of someone named Patrick Byrne. And I used to have a hate, love, and then hate relationship with Byrne. So Byrne and I right now are not good. But Byrne came up with this concept of creating digital securities on a same-day settlement basis when he was having problems with naked shorts back around 2000-ish. And first, Byrne blamed the hedge funds for the naked shorts. He sued my partner and I for $1 billion. That's one with a lot of zeros. And when someone jumped on a call a week or so ago and hassled me about it, we settled it for $5 million. And to take it to trial, it would have cost us 10. So we settled it for nothing. But I did help him in a deposition against Goldman Sachs a couple of years later when I explained the functioning of the stock loan business, which is completely broken. So for those interested, I suggest you, that deposition's on the web, I suggest you read it and read it carefully because it outlines the criminality and fuckery that goes on. And if anyone thinks I'm a shill for Citadel or the brokers or have a different agenda, I think you should read that deposition through and through. So with the founding of T0, T0 is a zero settlement brokerage firm, meaning same-day settlement. And if T0 would have been used for GameStop or AMC on that January 28th period, none of the switch pulling would have gone on. So while people may recommend and suggest 1 day or 2 day or short settlement, the technology is around to have same-day settlement. So when people say they can't do it, they don't want to do it because they enjoy profiting off the plumbing and they enjoy screwing Joe Sixpack. Which leads me to why I'm in this fight. And I have plenty of money, and I have my health, and I have plenty of things to do. But when I was filming the Mulligan Brothers film in Portland this past summer, the stories I heard of individuals getting completely destroyed just kind of sickened me / enraged me. And I said, no one else is electing to take this on because they either have a firm or they're too politically correct or they don't want to speak truth to power or they don't want to take the risk. And I don't mind doing any of that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm here. And I'm further emboldened because I probably get, I don't know, between 500 and 1,000 DMs a week from people who have put it all in AMC and some GME, and hoping, that they hit the lottery. And I just want to caution everyone and say, only play, folks, with money you can lose. Because this is a dangerous game and the outcome is very uncertain. And I'm going to do my best to get things right and to try to make things right so this crap doesn't happen again. But I'm just one guy, and my plan is reliant upon many people, including the powers that be at AMC. So I just, some people, don't drink and drive. That's a given. Don't let your kids play with guns, but only invest and only be in speculative stuff with money that you can afford to lose. Because some of the stories I've gotten, I sleep poorly to begin with. I don't sleep well because my mind doesn't rest, but I sleep really bad after reading some of these stories. So that's a little walk into what my plan is. And my plan can be loose and my plan can be tight. It all really depends on what Adam Aaron and the gang want to do. And I've emailed back and forth with AMC, and I don't exactly know what they're thinking, which is fine. I don't need to know what they're thinking. But the plan sort of goes like this. Most people nowadays know what NFTs are, non-fungible tokens, and they hear a lot of stories on how much they're worth and how much they trade, and they hear a lot about OpenSea and things like that. And that's well and good, and all those things are fantastic. But there's also a function of these that can easily be called security tokens. So the difference between NFTs and security tokens isn't really very much. They're sort of a jaguar versus a tiger. They're all in the same family, but they're different form of species. So my suggestion to AMC is to issue as many NFT/security tokens as there are shares outstanding. But they need to have some form of, let's just say, utilization to them. It could be discounts to movies. If you own a certain amount, it could be a Hollywood experience. It could be backstage. It could be renting out theaters for parties. It could be a whole lot of stuff. So whatever these tokens/NFTs are, they carry some utility with them, but they're not a cash dividend from the company. The company can't pay a cash dividend, but this is the way around doing that. It's for some utility that Adam and the boys want to create. So there's 518 million shares, give or take. So they issue these NFT/security tokens, one for one token security for every share you own. But these securities or NFTs go around DTCC. These are not DTCC clearable items. Why do I say that? Because you don't want DTCC, who's in the pocket of the man/prime broker/brokerage firms, saying that these are worthless and whoever is short these securities basically don't have to deliver them. You pay 5 cents and there's no IOU. The beauty behind these is each shareholder is entitled to one. But if you're short the stock, or God forbid, you're short the stock without a borrow, or God forbid, you've created shares or synthesized shares, you really have a problem here. You have a major problem because every holder will want these things. And every holder, and here's the catch, gets to trade these on the T0 exchange. And T0, as I talked about earlier, was Burns' creation into digital same-day settlement securities, and it's an exchange. It's an alternative trading system. They trade digital securities, of which these would be. So, for example, if Tara owns 13,253 shares of AMC, she gets that amount in these dividendable shares. And she opens a T0 account, or if she has a Fidelity account and Fidelity ports into T0, she keeps them at Fidelity, and she can buy and sell these tokens slash STOs just like regular stocks. And in this world of collectibles, the STOs, NFTs, it takes the system down to its basic form. If you own the shares, you get an NFT slash STO. If you're short the shares and you can't deliver them, you have a problem. If you're short the shares and can't deliver the shares and the NFT, you have a super problem. And if you want to make up or create shares, you really have a problem. And that way, when the tide does go out, everyone will know who is naked here. And it's basically, if you want to play cards or see the tide go out, we'll find out who's been trying to trick fuck who. This gets down to the brass tacks of what's really going on. This will make it one share for one person, same day settlement. You get the NFT. If you don't have it, you can go in the market and buy it. But there's a limited number of NFTs out there. And they will trade on the T0 exchange. So it's not like you're getting a worthless security. There will be a market for these. There'll be a very active market for these because there'll be 518 million out. So I know this is legal. I know T0 and the ATS is both SEC and FINRA approved. And I want to find out, if someone says no, why? Why not? I want to find out why this can't be. Because I've heard no reason why this can't be. And this will then turn the markets back free and into the hands of the people who actually own the shares. So I think it's a great idea. It's not just handing people out NFTs or a picture of a person or a horse or an old movie theater or what have you. You get something that does have value and collectability, and it's one for one. And it puts an end to all of the nonsense out there. It's sort of winner take all. If there was nothing wrong in the first place, then there'll be nothing wrong with this, and these things will just trade normally, and there'll be no problem. If there is something wrong, if there was something, it will get exposed real fast. And this exchange, I think, will be the future with digital securities and same-day settlement. So the bullshit that went on in January will never go on again. And that's my main goal. My main goal is that people in what went down in January and the mass screwing of just regular working people who got completely clipped doesn't happen again. And I do have hedge fund buddies. And a lot of these guys are legit. And a lot of them are just horrible. But the legit guys, to a person, to a lady and a man, all reach out to me and say they admire what I'm trying to do here because these people really got screwed, and they got screwed bad. And you know, this falls together and comes together with the uniting of people. It comes together with the website. It comes together with the letters to the Senate and Congress. It should come together in raising more money for Kat so she can do her thing. Should come together with raising some money for lobbyists so you guys have a voice. And I'm really pleased how this movement has come together in the past, 6 weeks. And it's gone from all this extraneous horseshit floating around to, I think, now the message is getting more focused. And there was a great article by Michelle Solarier on Kat the other day, and another one in Business Insider, and I think it's the beginning, because I don't have a publicist and I don't have a PR firm, but I'm media savvy, and there's a lot of people at very big operations who are interested in this and interested in what's going on. So that's my plan. I've articulated it to Adam Aaron via email over the weekend. He seems a bit perturbed that I send him emails over the weekend, or too many emails over the weekend. I really don't give a fuck, because he works for me and he works for you. He works for the shareholders. And
better get to work.
And exactly right. And a guy who just cashed out of however many million, he can respond to my emails, and I don't need any chit chat back from him.
Can I just tell you my favorite thing about Marc? I got to tell everyone here, my favorite thing about Marc is he holds your feet to the fire. Like, if you tell Marc we're doing something, we're doing it, and Marc is not going to let you get out of it. So I appreciate that about you, Marc, and I love that you are taking the initiative on this and you're approaching Adam directly. I really have faith in what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I just want to throw that out there. But I didn't want to cut you off, so please.
Well, I appreciate that. Now remember that we'll hold the feet to the fire, and it's well, back when I used to be a counselor at a boys' camp, and I tell this story now and then, and I at some point used to teach life saving, and I failed a lot of people, and I failed a bunch of these kids because the last thing was to rescue a distressed swimmer, and that distressed swimmer was me. And when the kids used to come out to try to save me, I would try to drown them. And my reason for trying to be really hard on them was, if I ever passed someone on life-saving and, God forbid, they went to rescue someone and the panicked person drowned them, I'd feel responsible. So I made sure whoever I passed could save people, and I'm trying to make sure that whatever I try to do here works, and I'll try to see it through the best I can. But understand, I'm just one guy, and it's not that I need help, but I think the gang going to Adam Aaron and the whole thing saying we should have a sit down, that if you don't want to do it, why don't you want to do it? And if you don't want to do it, what are alternatives to this thing to clean up this mess? Because doing nothing is not going to make this go away. Doing nothing, it's fine to talk, and it's fine. Everything's fine to have calls and the kumbaya thing, but someone needs to do something here, and I think this is it. And the new website is great, and the letters to the Senate and Congress are great. I mean, I ran that by a few people who are senators and congressmen to see what they thought. They gave the thumbs up. I ran it by a Pulitzer Prize winner. They gave the thumbs up. So I think everything is tracking in the right direction, but everyone needs to sort of grab the rope, pull it, and just never let it go. Because you cannot lose if you don't let go of the rope. I always say that if you quit, you're done. But if you don't quit, you always have a shot. And you know, that's sort of my thinking. So I've been doing some yip yapping on the monologue. So I'm just that's my plan. That's my thought. It's completely legal. It's on an SEC and FINRA approved exchange. I think it's unique. I think it hasn't been done.
Can I just, Marc, ask you, since about 500 plus more people joined like midway through your spiel and some after, if you could do like one more just quick rundown on how this would work, if you don't mind. And then I have a couple questions as well.
So for the people new to the program, there's approximately 500 million shares of AMC out there. And everyone's familiar with what an NFT is, and you hear about them trading on OpenSea for all sorts of money. But those are one-off things. But NFT's cousin and distant and near relative, and really almost like security, is something called a security token, an STO. And those are perfectly legal as well. But security tokens differ from NFTs is because they have some form of utility to them. They're worth something. They come with a feature. It could come with a 1-hour lunch with me, a Canon ride with me, a Collective Soul concert with me, a free AMC screening. It could come with all sorts of things. And those have value but not cash value. And on something called the T0 Alternative Trading System, which is live and SEC and FINRA approved, these NFT/STOs would trade. And they could actually trade to be worth more than the value of AMC stock. And, one way, if you really need to squint your eyes and think about it, there's a lot of people interested and involved in crypto. I'm not one of them because I can never understand it, but I at least admit what I don't understand. But there are many, many, many coins, and people like the DOG coin, they like the Shiba, they like the Bamboozle, they like whatever they like. But no one really knows what's behind it and why they move and what they're worth. But these STOs/NFTs would actually have value plus collectability, plus they'd be the first ones. And you can't margin these. They're same-day settlement, and there's only so many out there. There's only 518 million out there. So if you're short AMC stock and come the X date, and these things will be outside of DTCC control. So DTCC will not be able to say, you can settle these for $2. You can settle these for $3. You can settle these for 50 cents. No, you can settle these for giving the rightful holder their NFT or their STO. And that is going to create a huge problem for the people who are short this thing illegally, synthetically, and even legally. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to come up with the NFT to give to Tara when the X date comes. So I've run this by some very sophisticated people with knowledge of this. I've been involved with T0 one way or the other for about 4 years, Overstock for 4 years. And this is what an alternative digital security is about. This is what can be. And, I want this out there in feedback why this is a bad idea, why this can't be done. Because I'm not interested in can't. I'm interested in how it can work so people do not get screwed like they got screwed before. And I think it would be smart for people to trade their securities even on T0, because again, if it's same-day settlement and you can't loan them out and there's no fails because everything is real time, why not? It's a better system. But Wall Street does not want that system necessarily to succeed because it takes away the money and stock loan and margin and fails and being able to flip the switch off regular brokers.
That was my question is, will it help to eliminate PFOF as well, payment for order flow?
Well, payment for order flow on T0 doesn't even exist. They don't trade any, in not too many years, digital securities are going to be the way of the world, which is why I'm so excited about T0. It's going to be what it is. Because the way stocks go now, it's the same nonsense that's been going on for 25 years. And stock loans even worse. So this, I hope, begins to push forward the conversation of solutions to that January 28th problem, along with the website, along with the letters, along with that Hero Cats campaign, along with Unity. And again, the whole thing with Unity is, I've played on baseball teams before where everyone hated each other, where guys were sleeping with other guys' girlfriends and the whole thing, and they couldn't stand each other. But at the end of the day, when it was time to play the game, the team was really good because all people cared about was winning. That's all people cared about, was winning.
And that's where
all you guys care about in this stock is making money. Now, I started this conversation with, I sleep less than I used to sleep because some of the DMs I get from people make me very sad because a lot of folks have their life savings tied into these names, and they're hopeful on a lot of things, and folks need to understand that this is a very, very, very risky game, very risky, and you should only have in the market what you can afford to lose. And you know, one of these DMs I get is more saddening to me than the next. So that's why I'm working a little extra hard to make sure this stuff happens, or at least it gets in the conversation of, if you don't do this, this is what we can do. And I think AMC and GME and whatever the names are, you know, whoever has this issue or was subject to what went down, should all collectively think about the people who own their stock rather than the guys making a lot of money in stock options and things like that running the company. I mean, the one thing I'll say, and maybe he's listening, maybe he's not, Adam Aron says he's done a wonderful job running the company and turning it around and keeping it from out of business. And I said, yeah, you did. You did a great job. But the people who really saved the company, the people who really saved AMC were you all, or the apes. Because if it wasn't for you guys digging in when things got really tough and really bad, the company would have gone out of business. I mean, Melvin and that whole bunch would have succeeded in putting the company out of business. That's a fact. As great as Adam Aron is, or thinks he is, or however that looks, if it wasn't for the retail community banding together and saying we're not going to take this shit anymore, the company would have gone out of business. It would have. So I think that people on the outside don't give you guys enough credit. I think you guys,
They can't.
United don't give yourselves enough credit for what you can do if you keep it all focused straight and come with solutions to a problem. I mean, anyone can find problems. I have a lot of problems out there that I'm aware of. But it's special if you can find a problem and then come up with a solution to solve the problem. And I think I have it here. And just, I think it's going to be a tough one for people to say no to. They may say no to it for a whole variety of reasons, but I want to hear why. So is that a better recap?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I just have some questions coming in. If you don't mind answering, I don't know how much time you have exactly. So if you have,
I can go till I drop. But I took a shower, I took a quick nap, and I'm ready to roll.
Tara, I have a question.
Dad! Oh my gosh, girl, you're all over the place. Hey, girl.
I have a question. Should I bring up people so they can ask Mark questions as well?
Yeah, I'll do that next, but people get a little bit excited and start wanting to talk. I have questions. I was just going to go in order from what I've received. So starting with the DMs, just a couple people who were asking if, there would be, I'm hearing a little bit of backfeed. I don't know if that, I think that must be from you, Mark, so I'm just going to mute you for a second. If it's going to cost money, and if, like say T0 is in charge of doing this, what, would the costs look like for doing something like this is one of the questions that I'm receiving.
So T0 is an exchange. T0 is a trading platform. So they'll just trade the NFT STO that's out there. It's up to AMC to issue the NFT STO and do that sort of stuff to make it compliant to trade on T0. But that's just general corporate cost. There's nothing fancy about that. T0 is T0 just wants to trade alternative securities. They trade a T0 token, they trade an overstock preferred, they trade Exodus, they trade Aspen Hotels. They're going to trade American Films shortly, which is going to be a kick, in the next, 1 to 5 years. They're going to trade a lot of securities. So they're more of an exchange. I view T0 now what Coinbase was 8-9 years ago. But I think it'll be better than Coinbase because Coinbase is crypto and T0 could trade anything from personalities to real estate to NFTs to stocks to crypto to the whole mess. So to answer that question is T0 is just an exchange. So the money that's going to be spent will be by the companies to issue these things.
I have a question from my DMs. Yasser asked, so every legal shareholder gets an NFT token.
Oh, I was going to bring him up because he's waiting to come up here. But if you want to do it that way, I was just going to let him come up and ask directly.
Yeah. So,
so for the people who are requesting, I'll let you guys up, but then other people who weren't requesting, and then we'll go from there. Sorry about that, Kat. Okay.
Well, Marc owns Overstock. Marc owns Overstock Preferred, and Marc owns a T0 token. And that T0 token pays 10% of their net revenue when they're profitable, and they're not profitable. So, will Marc profit from this? Well, if T0 becomes a thing, Marc's going to profit from it. But, I mean, I don't know. I have extreme knowledge in the area. I mean, Marc's made, Overstock when I got involved was 13. It's now 106. So Marc's not doing this for profit. If Marc was doing this for profit, he would not be having space calls with y'all at 10:42 at night in Florence, Italy.
On vacation.
Right.
That was my other question. Was someone was asking ultimately. Well, really quick, just to speak on Overstock, I remember you telling us last week on the call that you were in at 13, then people told you to sell at when it hit 20 and 40, and you held and still hold. So, and you're over 100 on that one, which is amazing. But really quick, I wanted to ask you another question just before we let Larry and Stonk Daddy and Batman chime in. If this were to happen, what exactly do you know what exactly happens to naked short if, say, there are naked shorts going on, naked shorting going on with AMC? What happens with those?
I think it would be the equivalent of dropping a human being inside a nuclear reactor. I think it would be the end of that as you know it.
Right.
I mean, there'd be nothing left of these guys that have to cover all their shares. Flat out.
And it would become a supply and demand issue is the way I would see it. So suddenly the supply would be cut by, a fraction of a fraction, potentially, depending on if there are naked shorts, which most of us believe there are, and how many there are. Then, obviously it's a supply and demand. The supply is actually much lower than what it's being portrayed as if it stops being naked shorted, right?
Well, that and here's the beauty of it, right? So this whole naked shorting thing, and again, my detractors bring up that I was involved in the naked shorting lawsuit, which is completely false. I was involved in a defamation lawsuit. It had nothing to do with naked shorting. Right. So I think I know a thing or two about naked shorting, and it's always a taste great, less filling. Some people think it's a big deal, some think it's a minor deal. The great thing about this plan is everyone will find out in real time if it's a big deal, medium deal, no deal, period. It'll be a winner-take-all thing when there are no naked shorts, there are no synthetic shorts, and everyone is responsible for their own thing. Everyone will then find out how everyone looks naked. And you just flat up. You'll just everyone will know. And then for the people who've been advocating that naked shorting is a big deal, if the stocks go through the roof, they'll be proven right. If the stocks do nothing, they'll be proven wrong. But that's the market. That's how the market should work. But the market should also work when you kick all the fuckery out of the system. And this in my mind takes it out of the system. So we'll figure out who's right and who's wrong, and who has stuff to hide and who doesn't have stuff to hide.
The naked truth. That's what I was going to suggest, is maybe, putting a tweet out to Adam Aaron. I don't know if we can do some kind of hashtag like AMC NFT, something along those lines, simple, super simple and straight to the point, but just to grab his attention as well. I mean, he, tells how much he listens to his shareholders and how important that is to him. So, we've been loud with Ken Griffin, we've been loud with Citadel, we've been loud with a lot of people. We love CEO Adam, so obviously we don't want to yell at the man, but we kind of do want to yell to him and get his attention at the same time. So,
well,
I wanted to say, what are your thoughts on the politics of Wall Street? Do you think that could potentially be, the holdup here is, I know that there's politics involved with Wall Street. I know, like you said, you have buddies who are great people and you have buddies who are horrible people, but you still call them your buddies because, at the end of the day, there's politics that have to be kind of played there. And I get it. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I read something today in between winks that the Republicans look to be gaining 5 seats in the House at a minimum in the next election, which would make the thing about a dead heat. I have got to believe, with 2 pieces on Cat in the last 24 hours, with the banners, with unity, with more focus, with more people in the mainstream media reaching out to me, people who work at networks and people who own cameras, real people. I have got to believe if this becomes a political issue, which I think it would and should be, and will be, then maybe, just maybe, this thing has far more legs than I think it has, and I think it has legs. Because it affects, Ken Griffin only has 1 vote, right? He may be worth $50 billion. He may own blocks of New York City. He may have patents and have the best and brightest behind him, but he only has 1 vote. And if you guys get together with the letters and people start and begin to understand that you really have a say, and it's not crazy, and it's financially based, and you've been screwed out of your hard-earned money, that's a pretty hard point to argue against. That's not something I want to politically take the other side of. I just wouldn't. And look, if someone wants to Google me, people will realize that I'm a short seller to the core. But I go after horrifically bad people. Horrifically bad. I don't go after companies that are harmless, some movie theaters or regular retailers or just benign things. It's a waste of my time. I'm not interested because they're not doing any wrong to anybody. And I'm on the side of you guys because I can't stand seeing innocent people lose their money. So when people
So what you're saying is you're the person that we despise who short sells.
Bluetooth. Bluetooth.
wasn't even hurt by it. But it's a strange come together. But I think this thing can actually work. I really do.
Yeah, and that's a point I've been trying to make to, the GameStop crowd who tend to view AMC as a distraction, or, AMC wasn't the original, and I get that. I get their frustration. Sandy, I'm going to have to remove you. I'm sorry, your mic is doing some weird stuff. Just a minute. I don't know what's happening there. Let's see if I can remove this person. There we go. So, but what my point being is that because AMC has a larger flow and more shareholders, we are able to make a lot more noise and get a lot more attention. And that's what Kat has effectively done. You see her today on another news article, headlining another news article, which congratulations, Kat. That is phenomenal that they're recognizing you in all of your efforts that you've put into this, because it's been relentless. I mean, it is, but Kat, you're putting yourself out there, and I just want to say it's not something that I could necessarily say I would do. And honestly, you're taking one for the team. You've gotten, legal notices, you've gotten threats of being sued, and you're still going for it. And I just want to say from me and from everyone here, I'm sure, thank you. Because it's a big deal that people like you are willing to put your neck on the line, and people like Marc and step up to the plate and say, I'm doing this. I'm doing this not for myself, but for everyone involved, everyone who got, affected in January, and everyone who wants to fight against that ever happening again. So it's a huge deal. And yeah, I think that, obviously people have their frustrations about if everyone would have just stuck to GameStop or whatever and pumped the hell out of that one. That's their opinion, right? So everyone has their own opinion, and everyone's going to do what they want to do with their own money. But at the end of the day, this is already in full motion. It's like you're trying to stop a freight train. So anyone trying to work against this and what we're doing here is probably just going to get run over at this point. So, or left behind, or they better just get on board. That's where I'm at with it. Anyway.
Well, to be fair, I'm long overstock. And that's my focus, overstock. Now, Wayfair competes with overstock. I don't give a rat's ass what goes on at Wayfair. I wish them nothing but the best. But my focus is overstock. And you play to win the game. People who are in AMC should worry about AMC. If guys are long GME, worry about GME.
But that's AMC, the difference here, Marc, is there's no competition.
In GME. If you like GME...
Technically they do, because they tend to run together.
That's just it.
So, and if the same companies are shorting both stocks, and, those same hedge funds are affected by one or the other, it tends to affect both, not to mention how many ETFs there are. So,
imagine if we were all together focusing instead of fighting each other.
Exactly.
Like if we got GME side and all unified, especially with those letters and the NFTs that you're talking about. And I have a quick question for you, Marc, for the international apes. He says, how will this work for international AMC shareholders? I tried to sign up for the T0 in Canada and it wasn't available here. Thanks.
Well, T0 is not available in Canada. T0 is available in Europe. But like me, T0 doesn't recognize Canada as a real country. They're somewhere to the left of Venezuela. If you put a fence around that place, you'd catch a few innocent people. But, most of those people, by and large, are just complete rascals. So Canada, it wouldn't. You get the NFT STO, but there would have to be some workaround on how you trade it, and because T0 does not work in Canada. Works in Europe though. I think it works in Australia. But this is
how do I sign up for that, by the way?
But no, it does not work. T0.com.
Thank you.
Isn't blockchain supposed to be borderless though?
Well, blockchain is borderless, but all exchanges aren't borderless, and all securities aren't even blue skied in all states. And this is new stuff. they're the only guy who's SEC and FINRA approved who can trade this stuff. So Canada has some restrictions. I mean, I've been sued in Canada, investigated in Canada. They tried to halt me from talking in Canada. You know, to deal in Canada is a whole nother thing. I mean, it's different. But I think it will happen one day. But Canada is an issue.
So, sorry, Mark, to butt in here. Sorry. Could you maybe tell us what you're talking about is an airdrop where anybody holding the AMC shares gets one security token for their share. Is that correct?
That would be the plan.
So, and how do you ensure that everybody who's holding actually gets the airdrop?
Well, where are you holding the shares? They put this to a vote, right? It would be voted on by the shareholders. Let's say the shareholders approve it. They then say it's an ex-dividend date of June 18th. And come June 18th, wherever your account is, better get the shares. And if they don't get the shares, wherever your shares are being lent out to, someone gets bought in to get those shares. If there's only 518 million shares, there should only be 518 million holders, legitimate holders. And the real question is, how many shares are really out there? And I don't think anyone has a remote clue or can get even close to how many shares are out there. And this is a way, and this is a test of figuring out what's really out there. And it's perfectly legal. It's perfectly fine. There's an exchange to trade it. And AMC has it in its power to do this. They can do this.
That makes a lot of sense.
Want to do it, which is why I want to hear a valid reason why not. And I think everyone can love Adam Aaron, and that's fine, and say what you want. But he works for you guys. He doesn't work, for the board. He works for the holders. And you guys have made him look far better than he otherwise would have looked. And you've made him look far better than the IMAX guy or the other guys in the space because you're very loyal to the cause. And you need to remember that he works for you. I mean, he knows I own stock. And if I want to email him over the weekend, I'm going to email him over the weekend. If he says I'm sending him too many emails, well, that's too fucking bad. There's a lot of people who like hearing from me over the weekend who run companies a lot bigger than AMC. And again, there's no greater motivator, Adam, than disrespect. And if you pass it around, everyone's going to pay attention. And I want to hear why this is not a good idea. I really do.
Can I jump in real quick, guys? Oh, sorry.
Which blockchain does T0 run on? Is it a native T0 blockchain, or is it running on something like Ethereum, for example?
I think it's Ethereum based. I think they do an awful lot with Ravencoin, but that's where I have to stop myself because I don't like talking about stuff I don't know much about, and I am not a technical crypto-centric guy. I know how it works. I can explain it to a 10th grader, but if you push me hard, I will just simply say I don't know.
I can maybe help with that if you want, Mark. This is Turbo.
Go ahead.
So first of all, to answer your question, like, why not? I can't think of a reason. There is no doubt, as many of you know, I've been working on these NFTs, and there is no doubt that it would be a huge game changer for AMC shareholders to be given a token for each one of their shares. Now, if it was on the Ethereum blockchain, the only challenge I would foresee for it, someone like AMC, is they do have to mint them and they do have to put them up on the blockchain, which brings with it some pretty hefty gas costs, right? So, it could be $100-$200 each, for them to do that. So that's the only thing that would maybe be something for them to figure out. But, this was definitely something that I've been talking about as a huge game changer and a synergy between GameStop and AMC. In our case, it would be where, our NFTs, as some know, you can put them in video games and do all these things with it. And I've been saying, well, how awesome would it be for GameStop to make video games that our NFTs can play in AMC theaters? So they could actually level up even more than just giving us a generic token. You can mint something for the same cost. They could actually gift an ape to people if they ever wanted to get with us, right? So I've been working on that on my own, but that's a little bit of a side conversation. It's not necessarily about my project, but this is part of my kind of thinking and master plan, because I've known for a while that if we were issued NFTs, that it would squeeze out the short sellers. And I got a little bit tempered on that from some people in the community when I started saying that, is maybe a little bit too early on. But now that I think the floodgates have opened and it's in the public sphere because of what Adam has said, in his last earnings call. So, this is by no means any sort of mass collusion or anything like that they could accuse us of, because this is the way of the future, and everybody's jumping into this. And so I just think it's so cool that now the apes are moving into this world and becoming first movers in this world, and it's just going to impress the shit out of everybody and make us look even better, because we've been throwing our weight around in retail, and we're a really strong community for that. But now, for us to lead NFTs, man, whoa,
well, and that's the idea, right? To get the securities industry eventually on the blockchain, for Wall Street to eventually be going that route.
Yeah.
As opposed to shares of AMC, you would have a security like this that can be traceable and trackable and no questions.
And that sounds awesome for us, but we all know that there's some pretty big money, powerful people that might not like that.
Yeah.
Because there's some huge banks and hedge funds that would probably lobby like hell against that. But the problem is they can't stop them, because everyone's free to do this.
I can tell you from within the blockchain industry that there's a lot more lobbying power and a lot more money going the other direction these days.
I agree. I totally agree. And the reason, and the thing that's great about it is that we understand it way better than they do. So they're just playing catch up in a big way. They're falling all over themselves trying to wrap their heads around how they can control it. But because it's decentralized, they can't. And so all of us getting into crypto is as a mass movement for the world is super important. It's going to really, really rock things. When this happens, I don't know. They're just so slow moving. The SEC and all this stuff. It could take years. Who knows? But because I don't know if they want to regulate it and all that kind of crap. So.
But if you have a man like CEO Adam who takes charge and says, yeah, I'm going to go this route, and decides to do it, and it ultimately plays out in his favor, his company's favor, and the stock's favor all around, you would think, other people would want to follow suit and say, I want to do that too. Sign me up. How do I do it, right? And then eventually, it could just spur change overall. He so far has been such a trailblazer. We all have been trailblazers and kind of forced him to be a trailblazer, right? At the same time, he didn't have to come to Twitter. He didn't have to start, taking our responses or responding to us or following us and answering our DMs and, all of that. So I think that he could be the trendsetter in this. He could, I don't know, it could force people's hands. So And it is scary when you think about the people that we're up against, but it's also reassuring when you think about the people who are on our side. I would even argue Elon Musk, right? Like, so I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting what the future holds for blockchain. But as far as AMC, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful that CEO Adam is, digging further into this and really taking what Mark's telling him and researching. And I think that he's been hearing it for a while. This isn't the first time. I know that I have, contacted him in the past. So in regard to the NFT idea for AMC. So I think that, if enough people make enough noise, it'll hopefully at least maybe get him to give some sort of response. How much information he can give obviously is limited, but some sort of response, or recognize that, this is something that's really being discussed. And that was the idea behind, trying to get a big call together about it. Get Marc, Marc's making noise, and Kat's making noise, and all of you guys are making noise. So I think, if we can get Citadel's attention, we can get CEO Adam's attention on this. So that's where I'm at with it. But I know other people had questions, so I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk. PJ, what's up, girl?
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for holding this call. I'm learning so much from all of you about the NFTs. My question is how, as opposed to, I think the AMC NFT hashtag is fantastic. As opposed to tweeting, what can we do as shareholders to grab the attention and let Adam Aaron know that we are dead serious about this? What can we do? Is there a request we can officially file with the company for maybe an emergency shareholder meeting? Like, what can we do?
Well, I think so far, as I've seen things play out with Adam that have been, the direct effect of Twitter, I think Twitter has been a very effective way of getting a point across, or getting his attention, like waving our arms, like, hey, check it out. This is what we're talking about. So, it's happened time and again, from, UFC fights, concerts at AMC theaters, that all came, football, at AMC theaters, that all came from shareholders. So those ideas, are being viewed and looked at, and I don't know, they're happening. It's happening. So that's the thing, is I'm hopeful that, just by doing this, it's something. But yeah, you're right. If there's a way, if we need to take it one step further, or, go that route, I think that, might be something that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, is that something that would, potentially upset people or make them feel like disgruntled or anything? I'm not sure. I don't know how that all works, but so far he seems to really pay attention to what we're saying and doing here. He even put Doge on the list of cryptos. That was because of us making noise with the Doge community, and now he's mentioned Shiba Inu a few times. So you got to admit, like, he is listening and he is paying attention, and he does follow through with a lot of our recommendations here. So I just think before we go that route, we could at least give it a day. Let him have a couple days and let it kind of marinate, and see how far we can get it.
Yeah, I agree. I've always got a backup plan, and so that was one of my backup plans, because he may not want to do it for whatever reason, and then we would have to get a little tough, I think.
Right. Well, and that's what I was asking Marc kind of, and I don't know if Marc can really speak on it, but there are obviously probably the politics of Wall Street and being a CEO and all of that. So it's interesting, but we don't always know everything that's going on behind the scenes. So
right. And the second thing I want to say, we really need, my dream is to swarm DC with these letters, to make a lot of noise, to swarm them, a letter once or twice a week, and let them know that we are united, that we stand together, and that we want to fix this crazy market corruption.
Absolutely. That's actually a perfect opportunity for me to plug David's call that he's going to be doing with Trade Tiger, 7 o'clock Eastern and 4 o'clock my time on the West Coast. So hopefully everyone who's here can make it to that call in regard to those letters and the website that Trade Tiger and a few others worked really hard to put together. So all of those details will definitely be discussed there this evening. And we just thought it might be best to kind of separate the two calls so that we could keep this one, focused and honed in on what Marc's doing. And then, of course, Kat with the parade information and that stuff. But I know more people have some questions about the NFT stuff, so I kind of want to get there and then be able to talk to Kat about that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, PJ, so much. I always appreciate your questions. You're a tough woman, and I love that about you.
Thanks, Tara.
Okay, who's next? Was it Yasser? Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna jump right into it because there's like 2,000 people on this.
No pressure.
I don't want to hold anybody up. All right, Mark, 2 questions. So, for every legal shareholder gets an NFT token. If I have 1,000 shares and I sell 100 shares, does my NFT go into the market with my sold shares? Let's say I sold 100 shares and Tara ended up buying those 100 shares. Do I end up with 900 NFTs and Tara ends up with 100 more NFTs along with my shares? And second question is, how do I know how many of my 1,000 shares are real shares? I just bought some shares last week. What if I bought synthetic shares? Do I get an NFT for the synthetic share or not? Thank you.
Okay. So the whole action is going to be on the ex-dividend date. So whatever happens prior to ex-dividend.
Mark, you're muffled again. I'm sorry.
Is that better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm heading back outside. It was starting to rain.
That's
so.
perfect.
Is that
100%,
better?
yes.
Hello? Hello?
There you go. That's better.
Is that
Yeah,
better?
right there. Whatever you're doing right there, just stay there, please.
Hello?
I don't know if you're like turning your head or moving your phone or what's going on.
Hello?
There you go. Right there. That's the spot.
Is anyone here?
Yes, Mark. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Do you hear me?
Some of them.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
I
you.
think he's losing connection.
Do you hear me now?
Fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Function. Mark, we can hear you.
Do you hear me? I hear you. Okay, good. Does it sound less muffled?
It comes and goes. So whatever you're doing, you keep changing it, and then it gets muffled again. But that's just the way we'll roll with it.
How's it now?
Muffled.
How's it now?
Perfect.
Perfect. It's pouring rain outside, so I decided to come inside. So I'm
Okay.
making do with what I can.
Right there is perfect. How you sound right now.
Perfect. Now I'm standing on my head. So to answer Yasser's question is, there's all the dividends go with the shares prior to the ex-dividend date. The date it goes ex-dividend, if you held the shares then, you get the dividend, you get the NFTs. And anything after trades without the NFTs. So if the NFT X date is June 18th, right? Come June 18th, everyone who owns the shares gets the dividend. After June 18th, you don't get the dividend. So you can trade all you want prior to, after, during, but the X date is the determiner of who gets the shares. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
you, Mark. All right, I think Edward was next. I'm not totally sure. Can't really remember. If I'm going in the wrong order, just chime in, guys, and keep track of each other if you can. I'm reading and looking at the call at the same time. So I'm literally the opposite of cross-eyed. I'm just playing. Okay, Batman. I don't hear Edward talking, so Batman, what's going on?
Yeah, what's up, Mark? Okay, so Mark, I'm totally down with this idea. I like this idea, and I know you asked who would be against this idea, right? And so I was thinking about it, and Turbo made a point. So now I have two questions. The first question is, you said there's going to be 518 million tokens, right? And so I know that they're lent out shares that are legal shares. They're not naked. They're lent out shares. And let's say there's 100 million lent out shares, right? So if there's only 518 million tokens, but there's 100 million lent out shares, wouldn't that kind of force some brokers to margin call the hedge funds come dividend date because there's only 518 million shares? So wouldn't they have a problem with it? Like, hey, you're forcing my hand to margin call and return the shares just to pay a dividend? Wouldn't that be an issue? That's my first question.
It wouldn't be a margin call. It would just be, what are your plans on delivering the NFT? Hello, Mr. Batman. This is Goldman Sachs. Do you realize that you have to deliver 139,000 NFTs next Tuesday? Yeah, I recognize that. Well, how do you plan on doing it? I don't know. Can we reach some settlement agreement where I just pay cash instead of giving out the NFT? No, you can't do that because the people on the other side are demanding the NFT, and that's a digital security. And we can't borrow that digital security. Well, what do you suggest we do? Well, I suggest you come up with plans to deliver the 139,000 digital securities, or you can't have your position. And God forbid you're an option guy, and God forbid you're a synthetic guy. I mean, there's rules for rules. I mean, there's reason there's rules and laws. People may not want to enforce them, but this is what brings it to the surface of what you can. And I think it would be a pretty good test, given everything that went down January 28th, so this shit doesn't happen again. And in the case of AMC, it's simply Adam Aaron looking out for his shareholders and looking out for the company. So guys don't want to, the next time there's an issue, drive the thing into oblivion. So if you're borrowing the shares, right, you have to come up with an NFT. If you're not borrowing the shares, you're breaking the law. And if you're synthetically printing shares to create conversions or options or God knows what, you have a real problem. So the people, it's all what side of the shotgun you're on. You want to be on the right side of the shotgun. You don't want to be on the wrong side of it. End up dead. So.
Okay. Turbo made a mention earlier that it would cost like somewhere between $100 and $20 per token. So let's just say it costs $100 per token, it would be about, was it $50 million worth, right?
It would, there's this outfit called Wazuzu, and they have a deal with P0, and I know the people involved in that. The cost of printing these things is close to nil. So.
Okay, so it wouldn't cost anything, so it wouldn't be any issue cost related. Because I know dividends.
If you're the guy doing this for the first time, I think you'd want that business to do it. I think those costs would be very low. Plus, who wouldn't want to be in on the first one?
Exactly.
Right? Who wouldn't want to be on the first one?
The trendsetter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, this could ultimately change the entire system just like now. This could make it all, happen like a domino effect. So like I was saying as well, if one company goes through with something like this, you're going to see other people rise up and say, I want to do this. Like, how do I do this for my company, or how do I become, get a part in this? So I think you're absolutely right on that, Mark.
Well,
but just to answer your question, Batman. So like, in order to get an asset onto the Ethereum blockchain, let's say it's Ethereum, and I would imagine it would be Ethereum because that's where all the action's at, basically.
Yes.
It's not. I researched T0 while we were on the call, and it's actually not running on Ethereum. It's blockchain agnostic, and this could be done with negligible blockchain fees. Really, it's brilliant. Mark, I have to tell you, this is freaking brilliant. I've been involved in crypto since 2013. We've been talking about the migration, about tokenization, and just to be on this call is a freaking pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I honestly believe history could be in the making right now, and I'm not trying to, get my hopes up too much, because we've had ideas happen and not, completely fall through, but I really truly believe that we are the pioneers. I mean, trying to bring, crypto, the blockchain world to the securities, industry is huge. And I told Mark this, I said, whoever accomplishes this and makes this happen will go down in history. And if it's CEO Adam, Mark, I don't care who it is, but if it happens, it's going to effectively change the way the market is ran. It will make the market way, way safer. Regulators can provide much better oversight. It'll just be a better system for all, and that is something that we've all been fighting for. Obviously, we got into AMC to make money, but we also, have taken the route of we want change. We don't want the buy button getting removed again. We don't want this shady kind of stuff going down. I mean, and what better way to make that happen if every single share is accounted for on the blockchain? This will never happen again.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's the problem that happened January 28th. That was the problem. And this is the solution. And if people say there wasn't a problem, it was a problem, and it can happen again.
They're gaslighting you if they say there wasn't a problem.
Well, the whole thing is, what you don't want is the next time things get going and things get smoky, for them to flick the buy button again with some made up excuse, and it could happen again. If a guy can hit the ball 500 feet once, he can do it again. And if these guys played this fuckery game once, they will play it again, because Citadel is so over leveraged, and they're so too big to fail, and they so own so many parts of the government. If they get over the barrel again, they'll just do whatever they can to flip the switch and say, let bygones be bygones, because the people who bear the brunt of it are the working class folks. So let's just screw them again. It's been going on for 200 years, so see if we can make a change here.
Yeah, Tara, Kat, Turbo, Mark, thank you guys. Maddie also for the explanation. I'm going to head down.
Thank you, Batman. I actually found something really interesting on Reddit. Just some, just speaking on all of this. It's a really long write-up, but there are interesting points that, I could even read a couple of them in here, but I want to let other people speak and have their opportunity. So, Edward, are you with us now? Do you guys see him up here?
Yes, I can see him.
I don't know. Maybe he's away from his phone or can't speak at the moment. But Richard, can you hear me?
I can, yes. How are you doing, Tara?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm wonderful myself. Thank you. And thank you guys, all you guys, Mark, Tara, Kat, for your hard work. Appreciate it. I have a question here. I'm a little confused. I'm not tech savvy like yourself, Mark, but my question was, I thought that Overstock.com created its own cryptocurrency and called it T0. Is that what it is?
No
token?
They never created any crypto. Byrne was a big believer in crypto. T0 is the alternative trading system that trades digital securities. That's what T0 does. It also trades crypto and will do some other stuff. But that's what T0 is. It's not T0 is not a cryptocurrency.
Okay, so the token itself is not any form of crypto or anything like that with Overstock?
The TZROP token gives you the right to earn 10% of T0's gross profits in the form of a dividend till eternity. So right now it hasn't paid out a dividend, and it's at roughly 4. So if this thing hits and they start making money, that could be quite the play. So I own a lot of that.
So my question goes directly towards that, and I know you haven't gotten a response from Adam back, but I know he was trying to, or he had thoughts of creating, his own coin, his own token, if you will, with AMC. So to play devil's advocate here, wouldn't this be a conflict of interest if he went, if he wanted to create his own token down the road? I mean, why wouldn't we just do this? Why do we need T0?
Well, he doesn't have an exchange to trade on. I mean, he can create his own. He can call it Atom Coin. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, if he wants to create his own cryptocurrency, knock yourself out. But
No, I get it. Yeah, I was just asking.
If he creates it, where is he going to trade his tokens?
Well, I mean, that would be part of the process of establishing, his own token, what have you, the AMC token, if you will, going forward. So obviously, it's a process, that involves, some legwork going forward. I'm just saying,
Right, but where if he creates the AMC token, right? Mm-hmm. He creates it tomorrow. Where is that going to trade?
Well, he'd have to do it on some sort of blockchain trading system, whatever platform that is. I understand that. I'm just, I'm just kind of trying to see both ends of the coin here.
Yeah, but why wouldn't he trade it? Why wouldn't it trade on an exchange that's already going? That's already SEC.
Right, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. That's what Maddie, is it Maddie or Meaty Greenspan?
Mati.
Yeah, what would you
it's
exactly?
A good point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Adam could technically choose half a dozen blockchains to do this on. I think Mark's point is that T0 is already set up from a regulatory perspective to do this exact type of transaction, and that's why he's suggesting it.
So that's another thing with regulatory. I was under the assumption that they're not registered under the U.S. Securities Act of 33.
Oh, T0?
Yeah.
100% they are. And FINRA.
Okay. I thought they were.
There, but they're there.
Okay. All right. Well, that was my question. I mean, it's a great idea, and I appreciate all your work. I was just trying to play devil's advocate there, of the conflict of interest with him, maybe going forward. Maybe that's his thought process of what have you. But that's kind of where I was going with that.
Look. If Adam develops his own token and he wants to trade it on Pluto, and it helps out the AMC shareholders, of which I'm one of them, God bless him. He can trade this wherever he wants to trade it. He can trade it, again, he can trade it on Pluto. But if someone already has a SEC FINRA approved exchange that works, it's been through, the tests, I don't know why. I mean, if it's good soup, why piss in it? All right?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the feedback, and I'll let somebody jump on. Guys, have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump on as well. Thanks a lot, Tara, for hosting this. Thanks for Mark for coming on. This is really an amazing conversation. I will be writing this up in my newsletter tomorrow. Friggin' amazing. Have a good night.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming by. That guy, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I almost didn't recognize you with that profile picture.
Yeah,
I thought we agreed to the Grinch. What is happening? No, I'm just playing.
I'm going to change it to the Grinch. I'm gonna
After
hold off until I find the right picture.
There have to be rules. Someone make this man a picture of the Grinch and his heart growing 3 sizes.
3 sizes. Yep, 3 sizes bigger.
Yeah.
I just have a really quick question for Mark. In regards to NFTs, am I correct in the assumption that the person who prints the NFT, whenever it gets sold from that point forward, that they collect a percentage on that NFT?
I think there is something to that theory, yes.
So the question that I'm having is the T0. Is that the name of the company? T+0 or T0?
Yeah, T0, yeah.
If they were to print the NFTs for AMC as the dividend, and that was who AMC used, at what point would they be sold off? Like, say they're used as the dividend. Things come out, all of a sudden it's revealed that the shorts have to cover it, everything like that. So they have to buy actual shares. But those NFTs, do they eventually get sold off? Or do we hold on to them?
So T0 is an exchange. So T0 is not going to print any. Is not going to print anything. T0, you're going to log on to your T0 account, and you're going to buy and sell various forms of AMC NFTs, right? And because I really like your question, what's to stop AMC out of 518 million shares? What's to stop them from printing, I don't know, 10,000, let's call them golden tickets, where you basically go to the filming of, 3 movies a year. Where you hit the super lotto in the NFTs that you get. You win Powerball, which makes these NFTs really worth something. See, there's so many ways you can dial this, spin this, dress it up, change it up to make these things very valuable. T0 is just the exchange that trades them. That's T0.
I'm just looking at it from the aspect of, say, so we get the NFTs as a dividend, which means we didn't really pay for them, we own them.
Yeah.
So we sell them on T0 to somebody on T0.
Yeah.
Now, does that person on T0, are they now the legal owner of that NFT since they actually paid for it?
Yeah.
So then when they go to sell it, they're the ones collecting the fee off the NFT, correct?
Yeah, it's the whole process keeps spiraling. You get these for being an AMC shareholder.
Yes.
You get them for owning the shares. So you're going to wake up and you're going to own your 13,374 shares. You get the like amount of NFTs. These things all of a sudden maybe become worth a lot of money as a first-time thing, as a collectible, I was the first guy to buy these. Who knows what these things would be worth, right? Maybe the company itself keeps the rights since they've printed these things. I don't know. See, the devil is in the details of however AMC wants to structure this, or GME wants to structure.
I'm looking at it specifically from the aspect of the owner of the actual NFT. Every time it switches hands and it sells, the actual original owner of the NFT collects a percentage.
That is correct. But their way around that, if they want to do this, is instead of calling it an NFT, they can call it a security token, and they would bypass that NFT rule.
I'm looking at it in the sense that AMC could actually generate either a ton of money from everybody swapping hands with NFTs, so they could put that towards paying off debts.
Yes.
Or whoever is the owner of the NFT could potentially make a boatload of money, depending on how many times these transfer hands over the course of history.
I think this is a confusion in technology. Mark, do you mind if I clarify just real quick? So with an NFT, when somebody creates an NFT, they mint it, they're the creator of it. Some NFTs, every transaction that happens after that, the original creator gets a percentage of that. So that's an NFT kind of frame of thing. I think the biggest thing is most people need to get away from considering it as an NFT. Call it what it is. It would be a tokenized security. Now, granted, however, AMC or GME, however they decide to deal with it, they could, take that tokenized security and mint an NFT off of those, right? And then you can start thinking of NFT, or they can, mint an NFT crypto in a sense, or just a cryptocurrency itself from the tokenized security. The back end backbone is the tokenized security, which would be backed by the actual stock itself.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in a way like it could be a form of them generating more money to pay off debts or whatever they want. Like it's another source of income eventually for them, possibly. Is that correct?
I think if they created their own NFT market outside of tokenized securities, and they would capture the transactional cost from there, and even just trading the NFT tickets or cryptocurrency, they can get the spread difference or they can play the market maker and make cash from that, right? Micro cash, which is good. It's good income. But I think where Marc's at, he's at the exchange side, right? What makes T0 crazy and great is it's the only exchange that you can trade blockchain tokenized securities that are federally approved, right? It's where you can take a stock and digitize it into a blockchain, tokenized security. From there, it's whatever you want to do with it.
Okay, but do the stocks themselves still exist? Because they would have to. Okay, because that was my second quick question, and it was like, in regards to if they were to do this and change them into like a tokenized security, that wouldn't disappear the stocks, because if that was the case, when it came time for people to cover or buy back, would it be a locked price then, since it's a tokenized security, and they would have to pay the actual price of the tokenized security, not the price of the stock? So the stock itself can fluctuate, but can a tokenized security?
If we were issued digital dividend that was a tokenized security, just like Overstock, right? They had a different utility. The biggest thing is utility. You can have different utilities for it, right? But it was issued as a tokenized security dividend, and there's a federal law that prevented it from being traded for 6 months, right? And that's super key. And after that moment, whatever you want to do with it is up to you. You can, let's just say AMC took the tokenized security, they made an NFT crypto called tickets, and they traded on their AMC Stubs app, right? And you have these tickets on AMC Stubs. Your choice is to either cash it in for tokenized securities or back into stocks, or just cash itself, right? It's your choice from there. Or you can just keep the tickets and reinvest with whatever they decide to do with it.
But could the price of that fluctuate the same way that a stock would?
That depends on them. They can choose how it works on the back end.
Because that's my thing. Like if this, we'll just assume, we're going to assume here and use words of, if this was to squeeze, then it depends on what people decide to sell at for them to cover. But if it's turned into a tokenized security, will that fluctuate the same if a squeeze was to occur? Or is it just dependent on whatever they want to pay for that tokenized security?
It's kind of all of the above. You have the stock plus the tokenized security, And I could see a world where the tokenized security is worth more than the stock. So,
Okay.
Right. I mean, people may want to go buy the tokenized security and hoard it and say, this is the first of its kind. I want to buy this. I'm never going to sell it.
That's probably true, considering how long some of us have just held this stock. I would guess that would be the case here, but
I'm sorry I've taken up so much time. I apologize.
No,
I'll
it's fine.
step down and let you guys discuss it.
I have a clarity
someone,
I can
yes,
add in there.
yeah, go ahead. I wanted to hear what you had to say. I know you wanted to chime in on this topic.
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's an NFT is not a synonymous term for like art or for tokens or whatever. You're executing a smart contract that is determining what the function or the utility or the activity is going to be of that token itself. So an NFT could have royalty rights in it that warrant the minter kickback royalty anytime that NFT transfers hands in the future, or it could not. That is something that is determined at the creation of the smart contract that then executes to actually mint the NFT itself. So within that, whenever they're designing this, it could be a plethora of different things to allow that. The important thing to keep in mind, though, even though they could have a one-to-one relationship with AMC shares, once you tokenize anything, especially as non-fungible, what happens is you have an independent market situation. So these things are tied to real-world value that make them a little bit more easy to quantify. However, at the end of the day, what you find is a double value proposition on the NFT itself. So at Bima, what we're doing is we're doing that for IP royalties. And the idea here is it creates a more valuable or intrinsically valuable NFT that can be tied to a real world event. However, like Marc had mentioned, that could actually pass the real world value because there's a second value that is market determined value. And that's the most important thing for any NFT play to take into consideration. All right, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you letting me up, Tara, and thank you for letting me ask the question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know. I think we have one more request, but I thought there were other people. Edward, are you back yet, or are you still away?
Well, while Edward's away, maybe we can get Marc. Marc, hi, this is Larry Chang. Hey, Marc, can you expand on when you went at odds with, was it Goldman Sachs or a hedge fund that was suing Overstock, and you were the expert witness during deposition, and expand on that?
Yeah, it was when Overstock was suing the prime brokers for naked shorting. And at the time, I was in a dark place, and I couldn't stand Overstock, and I couldn't stand Goldman. Couldn't stand either of them. Frankly, I hated both of them.
Marc, you're so muffled again. I don't know what is going on over there.
How's that?
I think his hand's covering the microphone.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's how you're holding your phone, to be honest, or if you have something over your ear, if you're wearing headphones.
Is that better?
I think a little.
Okay. Is that better?
Not really. It's fine. Just try to speak loud if you can. I don't know what's going on over there.
So, back when, here I'll get back to the other place. Service in Italy is poor. Is this better?
I think it's definitely headphone or speaker related. I don't know if you're wearing Bluetooth headphones, they're either being pressed into your side of your head to where the mic is getting muffled, something's covering the mic, and then uncovering. So when you move around, something happens and it uncovers and then it covers again and it keeps sounding like you're underwater. So whether it's your phone or your headphones. Go ahead. Better? Not really. Okay. It's fine.
Okay.
A lot of times phone cases cover it up too. Sorry.
What was that?
Phone cases can cover up the mic hole too.
Yeah, but it's not a phone case because he's not taking it off and putting it on, and it's definitely coming and going. So something about wherever his headphone mic actually is. I know some people have actually had to take one of their, if you're using AirPods, like Apple AirPods, they've had to take one out to talk into it while listening with the other. Okay. Unfortunately.
Twitter Space is notorious for low signal or poor signal, also like really diluting the audio quality.
Yeah, this isn't a Twitter Space issue. It's definitely a microphone issue.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I took one out.
No, so it's still not. Maybe if you're holding it, look at where the little dot is. That's the microphone. The microphone part, and make sure you're not covering it.
I'm not covering it. Is that better?
It's fine, Mark. Just go ahead.
So in the Goldman Sachs deposition, I couldn't stand either one of them. And my lawyer was pals with the Goldman lawyer and said, do not ask him questions about the following, A through E, because that would end up very bad for your client. And then about 40 minutes in, sure enough, the guy starts asking me about stock loan and Goldman's role in stock loan. And my head blew off and I just went absolutely postal on the thing and just explained everything that went on and how criminal and dastardly these guys are and how they do things and how corrupt the system is. And I think Overstock settled with Goldman for $35 million and Merrill for another $30 million, largely because of that deposition. And, then afterwards, Byrne reached out to me and gave me depositions and emails from Goldman Sachs, which showed how badly Goldman Sachs screwed me, which sort of helped me out because I always thought what they did actually happened, but this was sort of proof. So I owe Byrne a huge thanks for that, and we became pals. But I'm not afraid of depositions. I sort of enjoyed it. I showed up wearing shorts, wooden shoes, a button-down shirt, and I just said, let's go. Let's, here we go. So it was a long time ago, but it's out there. It's readable if you want to read it.
Thank you for clarifying, Mark.
And Mark, can you connect that to the experience that we're going through and thank you very much for buying the 60,000 shares of AMC. Seriously, thank you so much.
There you go.
Because you bought way after I bought. And then for you to work this hard on vacation, I mean, hugs, buddy. Hugs. So can you bring it all the way home for us here, both on GameStop and AMC, for how that sets a precedence, your effort with Overstock sets a precedence for AMC and for congressmen and senators who have staffers listening on this call. What kind of precedence does that battle, having won that, and to have us as AMC shareholders try to get stuff onto lit exchanges and just get some type of transparency? So can you connect those dots for us?
Okay. So I think all the stuff that went down on January 28th and the kangaroo court hearings and all that stuff, I think it's just a big cover-up. I think the Citadels and the Melvins and other hedge funds were so leveraged short these things, they faced existential risk if someone didn't flick the switch. And I think everything that's come out to try to explain it has been nothing but a lie, and none of it holds up. And there is only one truth. It's not your truth or my truth. There is only one truth, and there is only one set of facts. And I think what went down is so dastardly, they covered it up and have just prayed it would go away. And it largely has gone away. It largely has. The media doesn't talk about it anymore. The Cartoon Network, which I call CNBC, has Ken Griffin on there like he's a hero. And people pretend like it hasn't happened, but it did happen. And the truth hasn't come out. And this is why what Kat is doing is so effective, because she's hitting them hard on an open scar.
I'm sorry, Mark. I don't want to just cut you off, but I have to say a huge shout out to Lewis Tomlinson, who's in this call right now. I'm not going to fangirl, but thank you for stopping by. Anyway, sorry, Mark. Keep going. And in case anyone doesn't know, that's a One Direction guy. So, yeah, it's important. But, Mark, sorry, keep going.
So Kat just is pounding them on sort of an open scar, and they hate it. They absolutely hate it, and they don't know how to fight her or fight you, because their biggest fear is that January 28th gets reopened again. It gets reopened with, maybe we didn't look at it like this, or maybe we need to look and get all of the emails from Citadel and Citadel's agents to the New York Fed. Who actually ordered? My thing is, who actually ordered the code red? Because so far, all of the information doesn't act. There is no basis for what they did, when they did, how they did it. So I think the longer, and hopefully the fact that this can get reopened, the better shot people have. And short of that, this NFT STO idea will, one, they'll close the book on what exactly is naked or not naked or synthetically short out there. And two, it will create a way where this shit shouldn't happen again. I mean, my main deal is, I don't want it to happen again and again and again, because I fear for the people who have everything they have and then some in these things, and I don't want to see them get wiped out, period. I mean, that would be a horrifically bad outcome. And taking from those people so Ken Griffin can buy his sixth plane is about as wrong can be, to me. I just can't stand it. I just can't stand it.
Mark, you're super muffled now. It's bad. Like, are you laying down right now? You got to stand up.
Oh, no. I'm standing in my head.
Are you falling asleep on us? Something is covering up your microphone. It's your hand or your head or something.
Hold on. Let me recalibrate my system.
That is absolutely perfect. Whatever you're doing right there, something is being removed from whatever's covering the microphone. And I think it's part of you. I think it's your head or your hand. I'm not sure. But you were getting really muffled, so I had to cut you off there.
Am I okay now?
You're great now. Wonderful. I'm just trying to act normal with Louis Tomlinson in this call. I don't even know if he's still in here because I can't find him, but that was insane. Huge fan, by the way. All right, Mark. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just shut off my microphone.
Okay, turn it back on and keep on going. You sound great now.
I'm good now. Get the next question.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for taking the time on this call. I really appreciate all your insight. And I was wondering if you had any insight as to how this tokenization might affect AMC's relationship with the film industry. They are an exhibitor, and I'm wondering if you see any insight of how studios might react to this, or particularly maybe want to get involved sometime in the future. What are your thoughts on any of that?
Well, I think that's a really, really, really good question. And I think the play on tokenization of film rights, and anti-piracy is going to be that American Films I've been talking about, where one of the top 5 guys I know of, Bradley Saflow, was just appointed chairman, I think, last Thursday. that is going to be something to watch if you're interested in STOs and film, NFTs, and anti-piracy in the world today. That is going to be a play, and that is going to be a factor if on anything.
Do you think?
Hey, Mark, really quick. I'm wondering if you could do me a huge favor. I know that the headphones are super convenient and everything, but is it possible that maybe you could just talk to us on just the normal call? Because, I mean, it's driving me absolutely insane. It's got to be driving other people crazy. I know apes don't know how to use headphones, like AirPods very well, so bear with Mark. Not just saying. I'm sorry to be demanding. It's when it cuts you out, and you're super muffled. So.
Okay, how's that now?
That's wonderful. I think it's definitely an AirPod issue. It's something I've experienced on normal, even just phone calls with people. So thank you so much.
Okay, so now we're back. So
100%.
Go ahead with the rest of your question.
You kind of answered it, but I was going to piggyback on that and ask you, do you think, AMC's announcement that they're interested in selling movie tickets as NFTs down the road in the future, if that has any tie into maybe tokenizing these deliverables? Do you see any relationship there? Is that just moving the industry more in that direction? What do you kind of see going on?
Well, basically, movies and entertainment, video games, athletes, music, in my mind, are all going to be tokenized going forward. I mean, there's some stuff I'm working on that I don't want to get into on this, but if you really want to look at tokenization, it's how you make very illiquid assets available to the public. How you get ownership rights of things that the average person can't touch, pieced down that you can own them. That's what it's really going to be in my mind going forward. And whether it's song libraries, film libraries, upcoming films, drug development, real estate, national parks, sports teams, athletes, that's where this is going to roll. And film and entertainment is just one part of it. It's just one part of it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much. I'm a film producer, so I'm really excited about this new technology and how to utilize it in this space. So I just want to thank you again, and that's it for me.
Well, so the thing is that you could have a project, or you could have an idea. You may have a hard time raising the money you need, but if you tokenize out that project, it may not be so hard.
I think that's the future, and I think that's one of the things that I'm interested in searching for opportunities for that. I know one of them that we are interested in is we're talking with BEMA right now, who Adam over at BEMA spoke earlier, and we're kind of educating. I'm educating myself in this space as it develops. So it's a learning experience, but I think that there's a lot of utility, as you said, that people aren't aware of to these tokens, and I'm just kind of excited to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing. So we came in March, and we own a production house. And we also own a film finance company. And, after COVID shutdowns and everything started to kind of slow down a little bit during the pandemic, we started looking at some really creative new ways to kind of keep business flowing. At the end of the day, in March, when the boom of NFTs was really at its peak, we started looking at it. We started looking at it the way that everybody else was at first, like cool tokenized digital art. That's definitely something that has merit to it. I'm not much of a art collector, or at least I wasn't pre-NFTs. Now I happen to have quite a broad collection. So I looked at what was the value that was being had there, what was the actual item of transaction that was happening between a lot of these things. And the way that I saw it was NFTs really turned out to just be digital property. And property could be defined as a plethora of many things. Digital property, opening that up even higher and to a broader spectrum. So we first looked into, the ideology of us becoming a new kind of digital marketplace for art and stuff, and that's fine. But the deeper exploration allowed us, just like you said, Mark, to come to the same realization of tokenizing IP assets and tokenizing film assets and pre-production assets to rally communities around ideas before any other traditional opportunity would ever present itself. So it's not so much like Kickstarter, it's not so much like eBay, it's not so much like OpenSea, but rather a plethora, rather a combination of all of those that opens up to a plethora of new opportunities to be had there. When you break down the ownership of a film, and we look at the traditional sense of a film being financed by private equity investors, say as an example for indie stuff, and they purchase a royalty interest within the film. They're doing that for tax benefits. They're doing that for potential ROI on the back end based on the success of the film. But there's actually a lot of activity that happens before an idea even gets to an investable spot. That would be attractive to institutional investors or to large retail investors even, or even VC firms or studios, right? So what we did was we set out to build a secondary NFT marketplace, Bima.io, that allows for the opportunity for ideas to be monetized earlier, right? So we look to help build communities around those ideas and help, kind of bring them to fruition. I really love this technology. I really love to see what we can do with it just in the entertainment space. But we're already prepped out to go beyond that because, Mark, you're right. It doesn't just stop here. Everything has the ability to be tokenized in that sense. And really, it's because of the immutability. So now we get a one-to-one relationship between digital goods and physical goods, which allows us to have a kind of a better digital life, I guess.
So, Abracadabra, I wanted to point you in a direction. If you know who Kevin Smith is, Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin Smith.
Of course, I actually worked with him on Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I was a part of the production in New Orleans.
Perfect. He actually tokenized a film. He sold a film as an NFT, and that's how they raised money for it. So it's definitely an interesting avenue to take a look at. Also, for the people in chat, I just want to say I put 2 pins posts up the top. It's just kind of the thing is with tokenized securities, NFTs, and all this is it's a platform for utility. The options are endless, and so I just wanted to put something up top just to kind of spark ideas. It takes a community to put these ideas together to allow AMC and GME to excel with this technology and be the first in their field.
And thank you for your suggestion. One last thing. I see it's speaking to the apes and speaking to the owners of AMC stock. I see a world where the apes can have ownership in AMC as a company, as an exhibitor, but then also invest in the creation of films that will be exclusively released to AMC. So they will, in a sense, be funding the very thing that will be generating the revenue. And I don't know if or when, but yeah, I think that is a great possibility for the future and the evolution of this industry.
As a fellow ape, I'd offer first look at any project that came off our desk. Let's go.
Yeah, so basically them become their own AMC movie studio, essentially. Is that what you're getting at?
Right.
They could, yeah, because, and AMC wouldn't even necessarily be the ones deciding what to put money behind. It would be their, massive group of apes and everybody who's in the community.
Right. I kind of want to get back on the topic of the NFT stuff. If anyone has something that they wanted to add or ask up here, I know David has had his hand up for a bit. So are you Are you with us? Are you here, David?
Yes. Yeah. Just want to give a shout out. The call is awesome. I just want to thank Tara putting it together. My question to Mark is when it regards to the NFC, at the AMC going to NFT, it's about share dilution. Maybe I'm a little bit more selfish, but when back in April when AA talked about wanting to sell more shares, for just to pay off debt and etc. I know we're not going to get dividend until AMC is out of debt. So if we if we go into coins for AMC, what's to stop the company to devalue the coin? Instead of building it up, they see it as a additional revenue, for whatever the cause it might be. We're all kind of a little bit scared. He said he's not gonna assign any more shares for this year, but we're coming around the corner. It's only about a month away, and I just want to get back into the topic of AMC a little bit. But it's an awesome call. I learned so much. Thank you all very much.
Well, I don't see what this idea has to do with dilution. I mean, there's no dilution. There's no cash being expelled, and there's no increase in shares. You're just giving a dividend to existing shareholders. Now, what he does from a capital structure going forward, that's his and AMC's business. But, my idea has nothing to do with dilution. You just get a dividend because you own the shares. If he decides to sell, let's say he announces this idea and the stock goes up 38 points. Maybe he decides to sell more shares into the move. I don't know. And I don't know what the stock does.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Can I chime in really quick, guys? I'm listening. I just got in. This is Keenan Grace. Welcome.
Hi, Keenan. Welcome.
Great to see everybody. So I want
huge fan, by the way.
Thank you very much. And I had to come through and support. So I just wanted to say this. I hear you guys. I literally just rolled in. So if you talked about this, I missed it. But one thing that I'm thinking about with you guys speaking on NFTs or dividends or anything like that being issued to shareholders is, that sounds cool and great. But one of the main benefits of this, it sounds like they would need to have an accurate count on the shares in order to issue the appropriate amount of
Absolutely.
That's just what I wanted to just chime in. I'm listening to you guys though.
Right.
Well, that's a fine question, but they're in the proxy or in the transfer agent or in those things, there's a set amount of shares out. There's something 518.3 million shares. Those are the shares out. Those are the shares issued, and those are the shares the dividend would be paid on. Now, if there's 1.2 billion shares actually out, that means there's 700 million unaccounted for, and 700 million that are going to need to find an NFT/STO dividend. So you're not giving a dividend out on all shares. You're only giving a dividend out on the rightfully issued shares. So, again, what's totally outstanding is the company's issued shares, which is 518, plus whatever is short. That's the total in the house. The total in the house doesn't get the dividend. The only people who get the dividend are the people who own the shares. So if there's 1.2 billion shares owned, 700 million shares better come up with the dividend or they better cover. It's simple as that.
Absolutely. That's the idea here.
Yes, I'm just talking about in future, like say, AA gets paid 65% of his wages where his salary based on stocks, his stocks. Now, I just have a question regarding of it going in the future. If AMC decided to assign more shares, how would that affect, what I mean, the value of Tokenized AMCs?
We control the vote for the shares.
Okay, I mean, I think
So I missed. Wait, what was your question? I'm sorry, David. What were you saying? One more time.
the question is, if they were to assign more shares in the future, they have to also create more coins, right? That's how it works in the future. With whatever is registered, if it was going to be 518 right now, if they dilute it, right? So I'm saying the value of that. Because of coin.
That's just a huge if. I mean, that
talking...
that doesn't really even need to be this topic here. But yeah, that would be the idea, is that for every single share, there would always be an STO, right?
And Tara, add on.
Offering.
But Cat may want to own a ton of STOs. And if there's only one round of STOs that went ex-dividend on June 18th, there will not be more. Now, in another year, the board may say, let's come with STO version 2.6 that has special bells and whistles to it, and people will like that. So then there'll be two different STOs that are out. But the ex-dividend date sets the tone of who gets the NFT/STO. And once that's done, then the NFT/STO trades to whoever wants to buy and sell it on an exchange. You just don't issue. If Adam decides to issue another 100 million shares at 83, those 100 million shares do not come with an STO.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's a whole different ballgame. So he can issue, stock goes to 165. He can issue more shares at 165, but those don't have an STO. Now, if in 2 months after he issues those shares, he declares another STO, then those shares can get an STO.
Understood. Thank you.
I have a quick question. How does Adam Aaron's 62% in stocks, when do they buy his stocks? Throughout the year, or?
I'm sorry. I feel like some of this is getting a little bit off topic. Are you asking that to Mark or?
Anyone who can answer, really.
And can you repeat it one more time?
Adam Aaron gets paid his 62% of his wage or his salary per year in the stock. Does his purchasing happen throughout the year, spaced out, or does it have a quarterly chunk? Or
does what happen? The
62% is salary. Say his salary was $100,000, and they're going to buy $60,000 worth of shares for him for the year. What purchasing times frames would they utilize? Like a quarterly purchasing of the 62%, or I'm not certain.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not sure.
So those are
Mark. Dang it.
Those have weird stipulations to them too. There's an actual thread on my post somewhere. You'll have to probably dig. I think it was probably last week. So he has weird stipulations with those because they're earned through
incentive. And it's a lot deeper. So I definitely encourage you to dig into it. Find that thread. I think it'll answer a lot of your questions with it. And then the shares that he'll be selling off, it'll be over the next 3 months, the ones that we saw the report for. And it's nothing. It's nothing. I mean, look at Elon Musk and what he sold. So I mean, it's nothing to even consider on.
I'll definitely take a look. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, it's definitely not something to be alarmed about. And I think it's completely normal, and especially because he's lined us. He's told us multiple times, like, that there would be estate selling happening. But back on the topic of the NFT stuff, and while Keenan's in the room, I'm just wondering if, you want to add to the conversation anymore, Keenan. If you're busy, that's totally fine too. Just hang out as long as you want, and we can just go on and continue talking. I think Mark lost connection, so I'm guessing he'll probably try to get back in here. Hopefully his phone didn't die, but these space calls have a way of murdering your phone battery, so I wouldn't be surprised.
You don't want to hear this, but I'm scooping cat poop right now. I got some cats I got to take care of, so I'm really here listening.
I love your honesty.
Yeah, tell you the truth.
The things you don't see on the luxurious Keenan Grace YouTube channel.
Right.
We need that. We need like a day in the life of Keenan Grace. That would be funny. And you're over there scooping cat poop.
Scooping cat poop.
You mean you don't have like a maid to do that or something? Come on. You seem so like dapper. Like you would have someone else paying someone else to do that for you, or maybe like a little cousin or a little sibling or something.
You know what? I'll tell you this: no matter how financially stable you get or rich or whatever, take care of your own animals so they love you.
Yes, exactly, 100%.
They'll love someone else. But these are the times that they see me doing this to them. But on another note, one thing I did want to say about NFTs is, have you guys already discussed what you would want to see in terms of designs? Because I think it would be a poor decision for AMC to not have a gorilla theme design, at least one.
I 100 million% agree with that. People have sent me actually some designs that they've come up with, and I have to say, even, to take that one step further, it would be amazing to have CEO Adam, potentially take a design made by an ape, because, they are phenomenal. I've seen 2 different ones, and they are both, I don't even know how you would choose. It would be like a coin flip, no pun intended, but because I don't know how you would even pick between the 2. But people have some brilliant ideas out there and skills. So to put those to use would be awesome.
Oh, you know what else too? So one thing that I've seen, I'm just doing my research now in the NFT space, so I'm rather new to that, But one thing that I'm starting to see is groups of them make them popular in relation to each other. So for example, rather than having all of them look exactly the same or something like that, but we have 1 or 2, you have a group. Like, for example, you made the NFT, the Power Rangers, and I have the green one, but you have the red one or something like that. But as a group, I'm trying to collect them. Now there's an incentive to get more of them, because now you've completed a collection, kind of like Pokemon, for example. Ash, got to catch them all. These things are cool alone, but better together. And then it would incentivize people to say, I want to actually complete this collection. So then, there's 100 AMC NFTs or whatever, however many, and I have 10 of them, like something like that. Like, people would try their best to acquire multiple if they were some type of a theme, like an on-brand theme. But keep going, guys. Hey, Stock Mo's in the building?
Mark said he's in here trying to request Tara, but I don't see him. Also, I thought the movie quote idea was pretty cool, putting on movie quotes of our favorite movies.
So I wanted to point out that Warner Brothers, they've actually been doing and dabbling in the NFT space. I didn't know that they actually did a Space Jam NFT, but in December they're coming out with a very unique Matrix NFT, to where later on you can take the red pill or the blue pill and you can evolve, between reality or living in the Matrix. So I with the partnership with Adam Aaron and Warner Brothers, I think we're going to go somewhere crazy with this stuff.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And who was it, Kat, that was trying to get in here?
No, Mark said he was trying to get in here.
Oh, okay. I'll tell him I'll DM him the call. Shoot, I wonder if I need to start over. That's the problem. Once these run for a little bit, suddenly people can't even get in. It's frustrating. Okay,
I'll speak a
hopefully
little
that
bit more on the utility. The different utility of the NFTs comes from a lot of different ideas for it, and it's really game theory that can drive an extended understanding of what's possible with tokens. Like the Power Ranger deal, like that's a really awesome idea to be able to execute that. There's other things that you could do, like with burn mechanics that allow like an additional activity to transpire after you've collected all of them, and you could like trade up into something that's more exclusive. So like one of the ideas that I've heard floating around the office is like the Infinity Stone or the Gauntlet. With the Infinity Stones, once you collect all of the stones, then you can get the actual gauntlet, right? But there'd be a limited set of each in particular stone, so you'd have to literally beat out and buy out secondary market just to be able to acquire them all, meaning like a very small percentage of people would ever be able to even get the gauntlet. So you get some really cool cloud mechanics from that to be able to do that.
But then, dude, that is such a great idea. I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to expand on your idea really quickly. Wow. Yeah. Like what you just said, I feel like